In our last video, we learned how to create simple and nested functions. But have you noticed a change? When we use the inbuilt function, we always tend to pass a value to it. But when we create our own functions, we never passed a value to it. In this video, we are going to learn the arguments that we can pass to the function. These arguments that we often pass to the function are called the parameters. Now let's just create another function by def keyword. Def function parentheses, then colon, then goes for indentation, and then this function is going to calculate the sum of two numbers. But this time we are going to pass the value of a and b at the time when we are about to call the function. That means we need to use two variables because we are about to calculate the sum. So that means a and b. And we are going to return their sum as a plus b. So I am going to call the function, but this time I am going to pass a value. So I am passing 12 and 15. Now if I just run it, it has not been compiled. First we need to compile it. And if I run it, now you can see that it calculates the sum. You can pass in n number of values to the function, but you need to remember that then you need to update the function body with that value as well. So I can pass in here the string as well. Let's say student. Now I passed three variables, but in my function there are only two variables, so I need to define another variable. Now you can think of it as the 12 is mapped to A, the 15 is mapped to B, and the student is mapped to C. So now I can write here print C. So if I just compile it and if I execute it, you can see it says student and then it returns the sum of two numbers. Now let's suppose I don't want to pass three values. I only want to pass two values, but I want to use three values in my function. So that time you need to delete that value because we want to pass only two values. If I just compile it, it's going to compile because the function has never been called. It is expecting three values. So if I just compile it with two values, it's going to give you an error. It says missing one required positional argument C. So in that case, what you can do, you can write here C equals student. Now if you just compile it and if you just run it, now you can see it provides me with the result. This is called default parameters because you provided C with the default value. Now if I don't want to use C as a student, I want to pass in another argument, you can do it that as well. So I want to pass in here, let's say hello. If I just run it, you can say instead of function, now we have hello. It's because it's going to prioritize the things for you. If you provide the third argument, then it's going to replace this with hello, with the third argument that you provide. But if you're not going to provide the third argument, then it's going to take the default value. Let's create another function, but that function is not going to take a value, rather it is going to take a list as an input. So let's just create another function, def func list, then you provide the indentation, and then I pass in a variable L that is going to be identifier for my list. Now I type in here a for loop for I in range length of L. I am going to print each value in the list. So L of I, right? If I just compile it, it has been compiled. So let's just call our function. So I call it as funList, and then I pass in here the list. So I am going to write 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now if I just run it, we see an error. Oh, it's because I write the function index wrong. So now if I just compile it, I need to compile it first and then I need to run it. You can see now it has been compiled, and now you can see we passed a list as an argument, and we see how a function manipulates the entire list. Now you can do pretty much with the dictionary, with the tuple, anything you want.